What's going on, guys? It's your boy Derrick with Euro Superbike Life, back with part 2 of my wreck bike rebuild series of my 2012 MV Agusta F4RR Corsa Corta. I have some awesome news to share with you guys right after this, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back, guys. So I have some fantastic news to share with you guys. Bellissimoto has signed on board to be my primary and full-time sponsor of this wreck bike rebuild video series. I couldn't be more excited about it. I've been buying parts from Bellissimoto for years. I used to have a 748 and 1199. I still have my BMW S1000RR, and I've purchased parts from them for all of those bikes. They have top quality, top shelf parts. They do not carry junk. Their service is outstanding. You could pick up the phone, give them a call, and a human being will actually answer the phone, not some recording. Those guys are fantastic. If you have a European superbike and you're not a purist, meaning you like to mod your bike, you're an enthusiast, then you absolutely know who Bellissimoto is. They're one of the industry leaders in aftermarket accessories and parts for European superbikes. They also carry, if you don't have a European superbike, they still carry parts for select Japanese bikes. So whether that be your Kawi, your Gixxer, your CBR, your Yamaha, they might have parts for you, so be sure to check them out. Bellissimoto.com. You can also get to their website via my website, so ESBKLife.com/partners. Then just click on the Bellissimoto logo to take you right to their shop, and you'll have access to all of their parts and accessories, whether it be CNC parts or carbon fiber wheels or ECU flashes and fuel tuners, fork and cartridge inserts, you name it, they carry it. And if they don't have it, I'm sure Randy can get it. Now, let's talk about this bike. On this episode, we're going to tear into the bike a little bit more. So in part 1, we did a visual inspection of the bike, just sort of did a quick assessment of some of the things that were broken on the bike, some of the things that were good, things that we need to replace, and things of that nature. What we're going to do today is we're going to start removing some parts and taking a closer look. Again, I have a laundry list, I think it's about 4 or 5 pages long, of an estimate from a local dealer that did the estimate on this bike of everything it was going to need to be fixed and get back to roadworthy condition. A lot of those things were being replaced and not repaired, like the tank and the subframe. So that estimate is high, to say the least. So we won't be replacing all of those parts, but we're certainly going to lather it up with some carbon fiber and some billet and some titanium, all from Bellissimoto.com. But we're going to remove the tank, we're going to remove some of these broken pieces, we're going to inspect the frame and everything more closely to get an assessment of truly what the state of this bike is. So my goal here is a phased approach. So step 1 was getting the bike. We accomplished that, obviously, so we can check that off the list. Step 2 was to do an assessment to figure out as best we can everything that's wrong with the bike. Step 3 will be to acquire those parts that we need to get the bike running. So right now it won't start. And then step 4, once it's running, we'll start acquiring parts so that we can get it roadworthy. So right now it not only is not running, but it's not roadworthy. So we'll get it back on the road so that we can ride it and things of that nature. And then finally, we'll start to bling this thing out for on the performance end, on the aesthetics end, and everything in between. Again, we're going to do lots of carbon fiber, lots of titanium, lots of billet parts, lots of really, really, really cool stuff. And then we're going to top it off with a killer custom paint job. So again, let's head on over to the bike and let's start tearing into stuff. Okay, guys, so the first thing we're going to do here is we are going to remove this broken upper fairing stay. So it's just held on with a couple of Allen screws over here. They look to be about maybe 5 mil. So I'm gonna grab my tools, we'll start removing stuff. of the things we missed was the clutch side reservoir. As you can see, it is broken and almost in half. So we'll need to replace that. So yeah, that's gone. So I'm actually surprised the clutch still has any feel at all. Okay, oh, let me bring you guys in so that you can see this. So one of the things we missed was that right there. That is a ding in the frame. It's not through the frame, so maybe this clip-on actually, when it went down, bent far enough to smash this. So that would probably mean, okay, so here, I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me bring in some light. So right here, this little nub is supposed to be in here, see, so notice this one. So this upper triple clamp is broken right here for this clip-on. So this bent back far enough to break this cast aluminum there. So whether we need to replace this or not is probably immaterial, but we'll, as part of our bling process, we'll definitely replace the clip-ons, and we'll probably replace this top triple tree clamp regardless. We can still see that you know, we need brake levers, so we'll get that off. But let's get the tank off. I'm really concerned, or not concerned, but interested to see what's going on under there. All right, we got our ECU here. Obviously our tank electrical connector. It looks like this was, I'm not sure if this was probably some emissions control item. I'm not sure, but it's blocked off here. So that's probably related to the rapid bike that's up here. So everything under the tank looks okay. I don't see any damage in here or to any of these items. It looks like this exhaust servo was disconnected, so I would have done that anyway, so that looks good. Not seeing any issues anywhere else. So let's remove the airbox cover and take a peek at the air filter. I'm probably going to replace that regardless of what it looks like. These appear. They are. These are 5 mil as well. And that sound you hear in the background, that's my portable AC unit. Like I mentioned in my last episode, I think I mentioned in my last episode, our spring is pretty much over and it's starting to get warm. And that's only going to be efficient, that little portable AC unit, that's only going to be efficient for another couple of weeks. Then it's going to get too hot and it's not going to be able to cool this entire 3-car garage, which is truly a 2-car garage, in my opinion. And the other side. Okay. So the rubber O-ring in here looks good. The overall housing looks good. It doesn't appear to be cracked. This was one of the things that was, at least the top half anyway, this was one of the items that was on the list to be replaced. Air filter screen looks okay. And the air filter, while dirty, does look okay. So we'll keep this out. The throttle bodies look okay. I shouldn't say throttle bodies. Sorry. The injector funnels. Nothing seems to be broken there. The bottom of the housing also appears okay. All right. So what we'll do next is we'll get the rear subframe off the bike because I want to powder coat this, or I might just anodize it, I'm not sure, but we need to get that off the bike. So let's work on that next. All right, my camera shut off on me just as we got the subframe removed. So a little bit later, I'll take off this bottom piece. I'll get everything stripped off of it, and then we'll send it out to get either powder coated or anodized. Now what we're going to do is we're going to remove these air intake runners. One, they're filthy, but two, I want to get them off to check them to make sure that they're okay. So again, I apologize for the AC unit. It is literally like right there. So I'm sure it's causing lots of noise. Ooh, lots of dirt in there. This is, let me bring you guys in here. This is why we in Arizona recommend that we use stock OEM air filters. Look how fine this is. That's all in there. Now, obviously it's not getting past the air filter, but we do have some in there as well. So this is why we tend not to use performance air filters here in the Valley, or at least the manufacturer or dealers recommend that you don't use them because of that really fine dust and sand right there. There we go. Intake runners are off. I may actually replace these with carbon fiber units. I'm not sure, because there's actually a cover that goes on top of them, so you really don't get to see them, so it might not be worth the effort or money to replace them with carbon fiber, but you never know. So let's see, all of this up here looks good. We need to clean this up because where the brake fluid reservoir got mashed, but here in this area here, where the brake fluid reservoir broke and fluid leaked down here, that's maybe what that is, I don't know. But it's sort of caked up here with some dirt and everything. So we'll wash that off and everything. We'll clean all the intake runners out, or in the air box, clean that all up. So next we have some broken rear sets over here on this right side. Both the rear set and the brake lever are broken. So let's remove those. Broken rear set's removed. Look at that. Rip that sucker right off. Right too. We can probably replace that in there. So I'm just about to clean out the inside of this air box, and I put some rags down here into the throttle bodies. But one of the things I noticed on this throttle body here, bringing some light, is one, that boot is not sitting flush, and two, it's cut. So let me bring that in here. All right, so I don't know if you can see, but right there, there's a big slice in there. So I'll need to replace that. Again, not a big deal, but I'm just gonna get some compressed air and clean out this air box. Then I'll just, I don't know if I'll grab a hose or whatnot, but we really need to clean off the rest of this bike because it's really filthy. Okay, so the air box is all cleaned out. I could probably remove these, but we'll just leave them in there. So what I think I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to drain the coolant system and flush that through, and then probably just remove the front fender, and then we will call that a wrap for this episode. So I just removed the radiator cap and the overflow cap. We'll break that loose on the water pump. Get our bucket ready. And let her drain. Okay. Go down to just a few drips. And then the procedure will just be the same as all the other bikes. Obviously I can't start it, so I'll fill it with just distilled water, flush that through a few times, and then I'm actually going to fill this with engine ice. A couple of reasons. One, I don't initially plan on putting this bike on the track, so I don't have to worry about it not being in compliance with the track rules. And the other thing is that the manufacturer and the owner's manual actually calls for using engine ice. So I have some of it, it's just sitting around, so I might as well use it. So you might be wondering, why on earth does Derrick have the bike set up like this? Halfway on the table raised up and half on the floor like that. According to the manual, this is how you put coolant in the system. Now, I'm just using straight distilled water right now because I'm not going to do a final fill because I don't want to waste engine ice. But I'm going to replace the hoses with Samco hoses, and there's no sense in doing a final fill and then having to drain it later when I got to remove these hoses. So I'm just going to fill this with straight distilled water, and then to do that, I do it like this so I don't get air in the system. There we go. So now it's just a waiting game. We let it, just let the bubbles slowly work themselves out. We can squeeze the hoses to sort of try to help that. But this, again, for me, isn't the final fill. We'll do that after we replace the hoses. But again, remember my goals. We got to get this running first. And we can just use distilled water. As soon as it starts, like, yay, and then I shut it off. So probably doesn't even need any coolant in it. But I think we're done for this. So next thing I want to do is I want to take you over to my, my tool bench and show you some things I found on the headlight and with the dash. And then that'll probably be it for this episode. After that, I'm going to head to Phoenix MV Augusta and get myself an oil filter and crush washer and air filter and fuel filter. And we'll probably do that on the next episode. And then hopefully I will have found a dash by then because I can't get this started until I get a dash, a working one anyway. All right, so let's head on over to my tool chest. So we are over here on my tool chest. As you can see, I got the original battery or the battery that was in the bike when I picked it up. Got my headlight. We found some more things with it. And then you can see I have my dash with the back cover all off. It's sort of semi-taken apart, fully taken apart. But what I want to show you guys is that after my first episode, I tried to start the bike. I charged this thing overnight, then I put it in the bike and tried to start, and I barely got anything. The bike didn't do anything. The fuel pump didn't prime. Nothing happened. So this battery is a brick. As you can see, it's reading 2.3 volts. It should be up over 12.5. It's not getting anything. So this battery is dead. So I'll be online at batterystuff.com and ordering myself another Scorpion lithium ion battery. Now what I wanted to show you guys with the headlight, we already went over some of this in the last video, but what I failed to see is, again, here's what the tab is supposed to look like, and there's the broken tab with some JB Weld on it or something like that. I want to make sure that the bulb was okay, so you'll notice that this is cracked. The actual housing is cracked here and on the bottom. And when I remove the bulb looks a little, well, it looks very janky. So we'll replace the bulb, but the housing is cracked as well in a couple of positions. I don't know if that makes it unusable or not. It certainly won't be high on my priority list to replace this right away, particularly if I get I think this is a DS1 bulb. Yes, D1S, excuse me. It's a D1S bulb. And if I replace this and it works, I'm not going to be high on my priority list to get that housing fixed. The other thing here is, obviously the back of this dash housing is in at least 3 pieces. It's all jacked up. So I took it apart just to see, and of course this the dash housing is all cracked up, but the unit itself appears okay. So I'm going to put the multimeter on it and just sort of bench test this to see if it's okay. And then once I get a nice fresh battery, I actually might take one out of my BMW here just for a test and plug it into the MV, then plug this in and see if it works. And if it does, maybe I can find someone that can fix the housing or something like that. I've reached out to a couple of local dash repair companies. One got back to me, said he doesn't do motorcycles. He recommended someone else, and they haven't gotten back to me yet. So we will see on that. Well, okay, guys, I think that is a wrap for episode number 2 of our MV Agusta F4RR Wrecked Bike Rebuild series. You know, I think I accomplished almost everything that I wanted to accomplish today. So I have a very good understanding of all the stuff that's broken and what's wrong with the bike. I have a plan set out for getting the bike running, then getting the bike streetable, and then we're gonna bling and performance this thing out to the nth degree. Trust me, it's gonna be ridiculous. But that's it for this one. In the next episode, what we're going to do is it's going to be a lot of filter changes. So this bike has been sitting for the better part of a year, if not more than a year right now. And there's still fuel in the tank over there. So we're going to replace the fuel filter, which means we got to take out the entire pump and everything out of the bottom of the fuel tank. We got to drain it and so forth. And we'll replace the fuel filter, the air filter, and the oil filter, all as well as fill it with some fresh oil as well. Then we'll clean it all up because there's dirt and grime everywhere in every nook and cranny. We'll clean it all up, and then hopefully we'll plug in that busted up dash over there, and we'll see if this thing will fire on the next episode. So if my Scorpion battery doesn't come in before my next episode, I'm going to borrow the Scorpion out of the BMW, and we'll see if this thing fires up. But if you like this video, please click like, subscribe, and leave a comment. You guys know that I respond to all my comments. I really appreciate it, good, bad, or anything in between. But I'm Derrick, Superbike Life. Until next time, guys, take care.